going live.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and welcome to Season 5 of Political Insights 40 Minutes of Political Knowledge. So still with you this season, your favorite host. My name is Ilya Marsha and stay tuned with us this season as we discuss politics, youth empowerment and also current issues. So before we kick off our season, do not forget to like, comment and subscribe and follow IIUM TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also Spotify to keep up with our latest updates. So, to all of our viewers tonight, if you have any comments or questions, do not hesitate to write in the chat box and please throw out your views and questions. We would like to hear from you guys too, and not just us talking. So, with that, let's get started. So, if you are all aware, on 3rd September 2021, the Kuching High Court has ordered the federal government to proceed with the Undi 18 bill based on the amendments of Article 119 of the Federal Constitution. This means that the lower age will the voting age will be lowered from 21 to 18 years old, and automatic voter registration will be applied for the citizens of Malaysia by the date 31st of December 2021. So with this landmark decision, approximately 1.2 million youth aged between 18 and 20 will now be given the constitutional right to vote. And also, I think about 4.4 million citizens who are at least 21 years, but they are still unregistered for voting, will be automatically registered as voters for the next election, which is the 15 general election, GE15. So this marks a significant milestone towards the advancements of our democracy system. So more people will be eligible to vote, and the voting process will become much simpler with automatic registration, which may in turn lead to higher voter turnout. So this has brought us to the question, what's next? We have passed the bill, so what's next? And to answer all of our curiosity on what's next, what will be becoming of our future, we have two very distinguished guests today. First, we have IIUM's very own Brother Najwan Arif. So can we have Brother Najwan Arif? Yes, we have both our guests today. So Brother Najwan Arif, how are you today?
Hi, Assalamualaikum, Masya. I'm good. Thank you for asking.
So great. Brother Najwan is good. So Brother Najwan is the financial controller of the Secretary of Political Science or POSA, and he also a member of the research and data team in Senate 18. So he's a very powerful person, a very experienced person in this area. So next we also have Brother Will Brian Reyes. So how was your day today?
Hi, hello everyone. Yeah, my day is kind of good also. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Great. We are elated to have you here also. Brother Will Brian is a founding member of Undi Sabah, and he is actively involved in project and management matters. He is also an activist who recently managed to raise more than 10 million ringgit for university students in Sabah under the hashtag Data Untuk Siswa Donation Drive campaign founded by Brother Will Brian himself. So congratulations, we have very great guests today. So let us proceed with our show tonight on what's next on Undi 18. So let us pose our first question to Brother Will Brian. So Brother Will Brian, can you share a little bit about the Undi 18 movement and its progress in achieving their goals in our country? So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, to answer your question, right? So basically, the Undi 18 movement was initiated as a student movement in 2016 by Miss Kira Yusri and Mr. Tarma Pillay. And initially, it is under the umbrella of the Malaysian Students Global Alliance (MSGA). So basically, throughout the year, Undi 18 has grown to an organization which recently has successfully advocated for the amendment of the Article 119, Clause 1 of the federal constitution in 2019. And also with the recent success, as what has been mentioned by Marsha earlier, of the
Mhm.
acceleration to implement the lowering vote age from 21 years old to 18 years old in
Mhm.
2021 by Kuching High Court, Undi 18 strives to advocate on more youth representation matters in the future. Okay, so basically some of the sub-projects under Undi 18 includes the Senate 18, My Hutan, and Undi Negaraku, which strives to enhance more youth participation to prepare the youth themselves to be the next faces of the country's leadership. Yeah.
Oh, so I think Undi 18 is quite a it started from something small, from MSGA themselves, and then it became something big, and now they want to promote youth representation and participation. I think this is something that we should have been doing from quite some time ago, and not just now. But this is something very good that we have now. It's a very interesting development. So thank you, Brother Brian, for sharing that with us. So next, we will pose our question to Brother Najwan. So from the perspective of a student, as an IIUM student or a student overall, so what is your view on the formation of the Undi 18 movement in influencing democracy in Malaysia? So what is your opinion? Please, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Marsha, for the question. Okay, before that, let's see what is the definition of the democracy first. So, democracy is a heterogeneous sphere. As Plato said in the Republic, democracy is a varied, thus an ever-changing realm. So, there's no static in the democratic plane. And democratic plane itself should be constantly changed. And there are not just hundreds of different groups in democracy, but also thousands of subgroups. It is also a tumultuous arena. Um, and how it works is that all the different groups should all the different groups and subgroups will need to have each other to keep in check for each other. And no group can and should dominate the democratic plane. This is how democracy exists, and this is how it should be. So with the inclusion of the 2018 that strive to for a young voters to eligible to vote, we are making the democratic realm a more just one. So let's say that democracy before this is dominated by a group, just one group, the old people, for example, and all the policies formulated and national agenda set up will only benefit those groups, and the interest of the youth will be seen by their eyes, not by our eyes. So our interest group, the youth group, is needed in this democratic plane. So by having the youth within the political voting parties, the policies or politics at play can be challenged, and the status quo of democracy right now in Malaysia can be challenged, and it is being challenged right now. Because so yes, I would say that it will influence and will certainly change our democracy in Malaysia.
Oh, thank you, Brother Najwan. I believe from what he has said, this has actually create a new lens in Malaysia's political system.
Yeah.
Policies are not only being filtered by the older generation, but the younger generation is also able to be in the know and be in participation of policies themselves, as we are a democratic country. So I think Brother Najwan froze, but it is okay. So before we proceed, and hello, welcome back, Brother Najwan. I think he's here. So let's get refreshed and re-energized over a short break before we continue to talk more with our amazing guests. So stay tuned and let us refresh and re-energize.
Untuk melaksanakan Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan mulai 18 Mac 2020 iaitu lusa hingga 31 Mac 2020 di seluruh negara.
Malaysia saw a record high of new COVID-19 cases today for the third consecutive day. The Health Ministry reported 13,215 new COVID-19 cases, with the Klang Valley recording over half of the cases.
The current crisis situation, namely the COVID-19 pandemic, has a huge impact on all levels of society, especially those with mental health problems and pre-existing mental illness. A total of 85.5% of the 145,173 calls received by government agencies from March 25, 2020 to May 20, 2021 involved mental health issues that required emotional support and counseling such as acute stress, anxiety, depression, abuse and suicidal behavior. In addition, data from the Ministry of Health Malaysia (MOH) found that in the period from January to December 2020, a total of 1,080 cases of suicide attempts were reported to receive treatment at MOH hospitals. Everyone is encouraged to sustain their mental health condition by reaching out and keeping in touch with family members, friends, and loved ones. Alternatively, the public, including students, may seek mental health support through resources such as hotlines provided by Health Ministry, various non-governmental bodies such as MIASA, Befrienders KL, Mercy Malaysia, and others, as well as counseling units in universities. A healthy mental health equals healthy well-being of everyone.
Welcome back to Political Insights 40 minutes of political knowledge. We have Brother Najwan and Brother Will Brian here today with us under the topic Undi 18, what's next? So my next question will be directed to Brother Will Brian. So Brother Will Brian, what are some of the main obstacles faced by the Undi 18 movement in ensuring the implementation of the Undi 18 bill? So we want to know, not only what we have read, that there was a delay, we want to know what are some of the other challenges also. So Brother Wilbrian, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you so much for the question, Miss Marsha. Okay, so basically the main obstacles faced by the Undi 18 movement themselves is throughout this whole journey of the bill implementation, right, is to ensure that people are aware of their rights to votes. Since everyone is automatically registered as a voter now, people need to exercise their rights to vote correctly. And in order to achieve this, the Undi 18 movement, not just Undi 18 movement, but we as society as a whole, we need to encourage more people to participate in various talks and webinars. But during these trying times of COVID-19 pandemic, Undi 18 cannot go to university or to school or do like physical events to teach the youngsters, especially the youngsters, about this whole thing, about how to exercise their right to vote. But it is true that everything now can be done virtually, like webinar, Zoom meeting discussion. But we cannot forget those who live in the area where internet connectivity is a big issue. Like, what about those youths who can't afford smartphones? And what about those who don't really have the privilege to join sessions like this, Zoom meetings, webinar, online? So basically, this whole COVID-19 has made things more challenging, especially in executing physical events to reach out those who live in rural area, to reach out those youths who want to participate in this kind of thing, but doesn't really have the privilege to do so. Yeah.
Oh, I guess that is, I think that is quite everyone's main issue since COVID-19 started. Since everything has turned online, there's always the disparity issue. How, even though everything is reachable, but there's always this question to how do you get more reach in your advocacy? How do you get more reach in trying to actually trying to get people to know your cause. So I wish that with the implementation of this bill, Undi 80 will get more exposure, so people will become aware of the importance that that the Undi 18 movement holds. So thank you, Brother Will Brian. So next we will pose our question to Brother Najwan. So Brother Najwan, So, how far do you think that the Undi 18 movement has given impact upon Malaysian youth? We heard that the main obstacle is getting more reach, but we want to know, as far as people have been, as far as the people who have made aware, what is the impact that the Undi 18 movement has made to them? So, Brother Najwan, please, the floor is yours.
All right. So, in terms of the impact that give the Malaysian to the Malaysian youth, we can say that let's talk about the effort of advocacy itself. Since the OT80 gained traction, before this, we can see that they did not just utilize social media, which are very youth friendly, but they also organize engaging and educational series such as Parliament Digital and several campaigns. I'm in right now Senate 18, the 111 initiative, Undi Saksama, Undi Sabah, and etc. So this immediate effect of this it increases awareness not just about the politics but also about the policy making process, which is the essence of the democratic state. And the youth now will see that the politics is also about setting a national agenda, about foreign affairs, about solving the littlest problem of our society. Not just politics is something dirty. The politics is something that bad. There are the other side of politics that we can focus on: the policy making, the public administration, the foreign affairs, international relations. And this break the illusion that that politics is just a Machiavellian province of formulating a dirty strategies. I know I cannot deny that there are dirty strategies in the politics, but we also need to focus on the other side of the politics, like I said earlier. And another thing is about political participation. There are two types of political participation, which is the active and the passive. And due to the constant engagement and the programs made by the Undi 18, um, the youth are now politically active. And I'm not just talking about joining the parties, but also a civil societies. Civil society is part of the politics. They organize their own groups to engage with their community or their larger society. So if we are using the participation as a metric to measure impact, we can say that we have gone a distance since we started, and but it's still a long way to go. Like what Wilbayan said, meaning we need to approach more uh, those who are unable to receive this kind of information uh, uh, in politics.
Great. That is so great to hear that the impact is actually quite widespread. We don't only learn about politics, we learn about policy making process. How I think it's interesting to know if we have other than political science students here. It's interesting to know that civil society is also a part of politics. It is also a part of democracy. So thank you, Brother Najwan, for your great insights. So next, Brother Will Brian, once again. So, can you share a little bit on the measurements taken by the Undi 18 movement itself to ensure that majority of Malaysian youth are actually on the same page of achieving the objectives of the implementation of the Undi 18 bill? Because we know that as we advocate for to lower the voting age, some people might disagree. So what is the measurements taken by Undi 18 to ensure that we have implemented this and this is a good thing? So what is your take on that? What can you share a little bit? So Brother Ibrahim, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, of course. As me and also Brother Narchuan mentioned earlier, Undi 18 has several sub-projects to advocate on not just political matters, but also other causes as well. So these subject projects are actually serve as the platform for the youths to experience themselves the world of advocacy, the world of policy making, the world of engaging, making networks with other people, making networks with the like-minded youths as them. Yeah, so, for an example, one of the recent initiative of the Undi 18 is the Dewan Muda initiative, which basically is a 2-year program which covers both policy making and advocacy. It gives the participants experience to work in the choice of ministry. For example, if they choose to work in Ministry of Youth, or education or even indigenous affairs, they are going to be put inside those respective ministry, and then they are going to discuss about the issue in that particular and introduce some like policy to curb the issues to be presented to the government, some kind of that. So I can see that through this Dewan Muda whole thing, we can see that the youth participation in policy making, we can see that their ideas can be enhanced in the policy making level. And secondly, the Parliament Digital, which is the last year initiative by Undi 18. Um, Parliament Digital, a youth parliament assemble, which comprises of 22 participants representing their own constituency to experience the real parliament sitting. Yeah, of course, uh, in all program, like I said, Undi 18 took into consideration of the representation, the minorities, the person with disabilities, before the community, and also etc. This is to ensure that all people, despite their background, will have the equal opportunity to represent and to amplify their voices on the issues that they really believe in. Yeah, so that is like basically the measurement taken by Undi 18 to ensure that they implement this bill and want to advocate Undi 18 to the maximum level so that everyone will understand what is the meaning of Undi 18, what is the meaning of lowering your uh, edge of vote. Yeah, it doesn't just like necessarily mean, oh, I'm 18, I can vote now, so what's next? Yeah, the Undi 18 organization as a whole want to advocate more about this so that the people, those who are in secondary school now, can be prepared, and also can be prepared to like mengundi in the future for their future also. Yeah, thank you.
I think that is very great. I mean, basically, what Undi 18 has provided for us youth is a platform. They have provided a platform for us to understand the whole political process itself. So, because as someone like myself, as an individual that has no not really not much political exposure, we don't we I mean, I understand the whole political process and I understand why we need to vote, but there's a gray area between knowing and actually applying how we do it. So I think this platform has really, when you ask students ask students youth and to participate and to actually do it, really gives them a broad mind and also a broad opinion to how the democracy system in Malaysia works. So thank you, Brother Will Brian, for your sharing. I have another question to Brother Najwan. So, in the context of political literacy, I'm sure there are some arguments revolving around young Malaysians being too young to vote, and that is why there was a stagger in implementing the bill itself. So, some people believe that youth are not mature enough to vote because they might be easily influenced or actually taken advantage of by other political powers. So, what is your view on that? Are we actually ready, or do we need more education? So, please share with us.
Of course, Marsha. So, okay, for this question, I would say that age does not constitute the majority. Even older generation, elder people are easily influenced and taken advantage by political power. Like the parties go around the village, meet kampung people and give some money for them, so they will vote for them, so that they will vote for the party or the people. So politics is always about influence. How are you going to influence people to vote for you, to gain their trust, and how we evaluate the rhetoric, which is the persuasive of talking, will constitute the majority, and the mechanism in influencing both generation is different. Okay, for the older generation, we can see that every PRN, Pilihan Raya Negeri or Pilihan Raya Umum, election, general election, they will go to kampung and do the talk or ceramah or something to spread their agendas. But for the young people, they need to have a different approach in persuade us to vote and to gain their trust. So with the involvement of the youth in election, the method will be different lah, in spreading their rhetoric or their agendas. So that's why I say age did not constitute maturity, but how you find yourself of the political rhetoric is does. And so how to provide the instrument to evaluate the rhetoric is by increasing the political education. I mean, giving out the political education not just for the youth but for all generations, so that we can evaluate ourselves, we can improve our knowledge and evaluate whether this is just rhetoric or it's a real effort by the people that contest for the election.
It's a great. It's great to know that education is important. Not only to, we need to learn about history. We need to learn about politics, because politics, I think, directly affects our life. So there's no such thing as, oh, I don't want to know about politics because politics is dirty. But that's not something that we should practice now. Politics directly affects our life. We need political education. So that is one of those things that we need to implement in Malaysia now. So thank you so much, Brother Najwan. But however, before we proceed, we'll be taking another short break to refresh again. So stay tuned with Political Insights. We will see you in a bit. Thank you.
I am Marsha, a second year engineering student. And yeah, we are still in a pandemic. Just so you know, I am tired. But life needs to go on. Day by day, I see people losing their strength to survive in this world. And one day, I saw myself drowning too. I was known as the most cheerful, dependable, and I am the apple of my parents' eyes. I have to pretend strong in front of them, like I have no problems and I am fine. However, deep in my heart, I am sick with this. I don't think I can keep my sanity and survive in this pandemic. I am physically and mentally tired. I am Marsha, a second year engineering student. And yeah, we are still in a pandemic. Just so you know, I am tired. But life needs to go on. Day by day, I see people losing their strength to survive in this world. And one day, I saw myself drowning too. I was known as the most cheerful, dependable, and I am the apple of my parents' eyes. I have to pretend strong in front of them, like I have no problems and I am fine. However, deep in my heart, I am sick with this. I don't think I can keep my sanity and survive in this pandemic. I am physically and mentally tired.
Hi, welcome back to Political Insights. We are almost at the end of our show. We have a few minutes left. So we have our very own Brother Najwan and Brother Will Brian today on what's next after Undi 18. So for my next question, I will be posing the question to Brother Najwan first. So Brother Najwan, as this already towards the end, so I want to know your opinion in the educational perspective. So active political discourse, as what we said before, is very needed in society, but it's commonly avoided by educators. So now what we focus is on at schools are the factual and theoretical perspective of history and also civic subjects, especially in secondary school. But schools should be a platform to prepare a new group of young voters. So, what is your take on this situation? Is this true or is this not? So, if it's not, how far do you think that we need to educate secondary school students? So, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Masha, for the question. Okay, first, we must know why society perceives politics as a taboo subject. And politics is a taboo subject because not people are talking about it openly. And for decades, we are bound by AUKU, Akta University and College University, that brought infantilism upon us on the topic of politics. So even after graduating, we still didn't discuss it as we have normalized making the topic a taboo, except for the things that mentioned earlier, which is for only for the academic purposes, based on the factual, theoretical. So those are the spaces that we are allowed to talk politics, but only on the surface level, not on the deeper level. And we didn't make it an everyday topic as much as we should. Like Aristotle said, man is a political animal. So confining us from politics is very unnatural. And every, as you know, every policy that the government made involve us in everyday life. So as an effect, we become very passive in responding or discussing the politics. And also due to another causes, which is in the dispute in politics. As due to the taboo topic, we rarely discuss. And in daily life, and we didn't set any boundaries between the public domain and the personal domain. So the discussion on politics and policies is supposed to be viewed in the public interest domain. And our problem is that when we argue on the politics, it will be a personal matter, and as the topic become taboo because when we discuss, we make it as a personal matter, and it will divide us. That's the problem here in the political discussion. So uh, we have to see this as a interest of the public. The discussion should be based on the interest of the public, and our discourse on politics is solely for the betterment of all of us, not just for the personal interest. Why you vote this? Why you incline to this party? Why this? No, it shouldn't be personal matters. And to the young voters, they need to be educated on what is public interest, to dismiss this idea of partisan, and also to solve the personal dispute in discussing the politics. That's my take on this.
That is quite an interesting take. What really caught me myself is when we said that it should be an everyday topic. I think based on my personal experience that I am not interested in politics because it's not an everyday topic to me. It's quite a taboo topic for my community myself. So when I joined university, it's something that people are talking about politics openly. This is something new. This is something different. And I directly know, politics affects me too. So that is so I need to know about it. So this is what we should be educating our younger voters. We should be educating our secondary school students or primary school students. So thank you very much, Brother Najwan, for pointing this out. So we have a question from our audience. I would like to pose this question to Brother Will Brian, which I will also incorporate with my own question. So the question goes, according to a political analyst, Associate Professor Dr. Azmi Hassan, about 5 to 7 million new young voters might not be interested in voting as they see no point in doing so even though they are actively participating in voicing their opinions online. Uh, because this is really because it doesn't translate to what they wish for, even though they have this course, but no actions have been taken. So how should the Undi 18 movement and other responsible authorities address this issue? But at the same time, how do we address this issue so that we don't only vote for our young generation to not only vote based on popularity? How do we educate them to vote and to vote for the right person? So please, Brian, the floor is yours.
Okay, to answer the first question on how the Undi 18 movement or other responsible authorities to address this issue to make people interest in politics. This is something that is like ongoing because yeah, it's logic to make people love something. You need a continuous effort, just like yeah, just like the normal when you like someone, you need to make like everyday effort to like you know yeah, and that's like the same as when you want to nurture or grow the love to be a political aware to the youth. Yeah, you need a constant effort. So basically, what Undi 18 is like propose to make sure that these things happen is through youth engagement initiatives. For example, last year, for Undi Sabah, for us for Undi Sabah, we we executed an event called Undi Sabah Summit, where we gather all people, all youth around Sabah, um, we we gather and then we talk about the issues that is like in the interest of the Sabah youths, where we invite panelists not just YB or those who participate in politics directly. We invite film directors, we invite businessmen to talk about this issue that has been like caught the attention of the youths of Sabah. So through this like youth based or youth engagement initiatives, I believe that the love to politics, the love to be politically aware can be increased from time to time. And also, to answer the question from the public, how how can we like make the new young voters to have like more knowledge or awareness to avoid them from voting candidate based on popularity only. So basically, for me myself, I never vote before. I never vote before. So the next general election will be my first time voting lah. So how can we educate is to join the political discussion. Like, okay, you are doesn't mean like you join political discussion, um you you join political discussion to heard about what people are going to say about political, right? You don't like, okay, I want to join this because I'm going to join this and then it's going to cost me a bad thing. No, not like that. Yeah. So through joining this political discussion, you can hear what people going to say about politics, what are the takes of like uh, several people about politics is, and eventually you will grow yourself to be a political aware. And secondly, how to avoid vote based on popularity. Do your own background check on the candidates that are going to bertanding later on the general election. Do your background check. Is this candidate do like groundwork thingy? Is this candidate always do lawatan to the people in your area? Is this candidate always like you know participate in the community punya things? Yeah. And if you do that, if you do background check on the candidates, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have the clear choice of who's you going to vote on the next general election. So yeah, because in the end of the day, undi is rahasia. Undi is rahasia. So yeah, that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Will Brian. So Undi is rahsia. So I think since it is rahsia, it has to be we as individuals, as citizens of the country, we need to have that awareness within ourselves. Then only we are able to educate ourselves as a society. We are able to educate ourselves as a citizen. So the first step is to have that awareness within yourself. So that awareness is important. So I think that's what Brother Wilbrian is trying to say overall. Okay, so I do have another question posed by the audience that I would for both of our guests to actually answer us. So I think we can start with Brother Najwan first. What do you think? Do you think that the government is doing enough in advocating for elections or actually democracy themselves? Are they advocating for elections or are they not? Or are they only advocating when there is an election nearby? So please, Brother Najwan, first, the floor is yours.
Alright, thank you, Marsha. So, my point is, I think that they need to do more on advocating the citizen, not the citizen, the youth especially. What is the politics? The political literacy should be improved more, should be made public, and the educational reform should be made so that the politics topic that discussed in the education system is not just on the surface level but also a deeper level, so that people learn to evaluate the rhetoric and the persuasive talking made by the contestant of the election. So that's my take on that.
Great, great to hear. So what about Brother Brian? What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, my opinion is this. I concede with whatever Brian Najwan is doing. I feel like the government should do more in terms of nurturing, like advocating on citizens on election or democracy, per se. Because as I said earlier, um, no, sorry, this whole discussion is revolved around the youths, the participation of youths in policy making level, in their awareness of politics. This topic will not going to be here if the government is doing sufficient job from the beginning, right? Yeah, so like that's the logic of it. If the government say that, oh, we have done this so much, so why is this? Why this whole thing, the issue of youth participation is still here. Yeah, and another thing is that I think political issue shouldn't be a taboo. Yeah, political issues shouldn't be a taboo because when I was kid, growing up in rural area, talking about politics is something that is like a controversial. My the whole family is saying, "Oh my God, Will Brian, you shouldn't talk about politics because politics is a bad thing. Yeah, you shouldn't talk about that because it's a very sensitive thing." So what I want as a youth, what I hope as a youth for the government is to change the mindset of all these political scene are going to be bad. Yeah, because if we don't do this, if we don't teach the children, yeah, ever since they're young, they will normalize, as what Brother Najun is saying, that we shouldn't talk about politics because politics is so bad. Yeah, so yeah, that's my take on it.
I think I feel when I posed the question to both of you guys also, I was wondering if the government is doing as much. Why do we have so many NGOs advocating for youth representation for actually democracy knowledge about democracy? So knowing that you guys share the same opinion as me is quite refreshing, meaning that the government has to do more in advocating for elections and democracy themselves. Unfortunately, I am sorry, but we are at our last question for tonight because we have run out of time. This is no longer 40 minutes of political knowledge. I think we are stretching to 50 minutes of political knowledge. So to both of you, I think Brother Najwan first, since we just heard from Brother Will Brian. So with the victory achieved by Undi 80 movement through the amendment of the of Article 119 of the Federal Constitution, so what is your hope for our country? We want to know. So Brother Najwan first, please, the floor is yours.
Alright, thank you. I will give it short and sweet. So my hope would be political literacy should be encouraged more and the status quo should be challenged. And no democracy should be static and changes should be constantly made for a betterment of our future. And what are we doing right now, discussing about politics and voting about politics, is the very moment of making the changes in our country and for the democracy.
Great, thank you very much, Brother Najwan. So this is a good thing. What we are doing is a good thing. So Brother Will Brian, what is your hope for our country?
Yeah. So basically, when we want to talk about hope, right, it reflects on what we envision and what we want to see to be achieved in the future. So me, as someone who grew up in rural area in Sabah, my hope is very simple, which is to get more youth representation at the policymaking level, be it in the state or federal government. Basically, as youth, we are not deaf, we are not incapable, we are capable to bring up what we believe is the best fair, as well as we as youths will always capacity to move as one to make Malaysia great but a fantastic place to live in, where my generation will be so proud and have born to this world because they knew that they have hopes in this country. So yeah, my hopes is very simple.
Great. That is so discussion for tonight. Our youth for the future, so we need to educate them. Both of our guests are opinion that education is important. Politics you discuss behind closed doors, that you discuss between adults, our youth, because if we need more youth represent, we need to discuss it and implement modern policies, and not only having to decide take is very no longer the new generation that is beginning to rise up. So we need political education to educate, and we need for everyone, for all of our youth within them, that politics affects them direct. During elections, also the thing, right? See, politics is something that is an everyday life, and we should implement and use rep. So special of our guests for the with us with them, and also their willingness to spare their time to share all of you to our in for 40 minutes. No, this is 7 minutes. To like, comment, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course Spotify. So until the of political insights, this is Ilya Marsha for Political Insights, 40 minutes of political knowledge. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.